All right. Ryan, start us off.
Can you talk about the key to bouncing back from a game like Utah?
Well, we didn't shoot very well that weekend, and we've gone a long time without doing that, which was really positive because we've had a really good shooting year. We're about, I think, one of only 4 or 5 teams above 50%. So, they've done a great job with that. And I thought we just got a little bit complacent. We got on the road, and our offense, it's ironic, but we've talked about it being under Coach Wooden's watch. It's, you can't be in a hurry. We want to play it quick. We want to play up tempo, but I thought offensively we got in a hurry. And because of that, we took more difficult shots than what we have been. So this week's focus, and emphasis has got to be about we want to run, we want to play up tempo, but we got to run an offense where we get high quality shots. Because it wasn't turnovers. We still had another low turnover trip. I think we averaged like 12 and a half turnovers for the trip. So we just got to work harder about making defenses guard us and get better shots.
What do you think that says about how tough it is to win on the road in the conference?
Well, and that's part of it. That's part of it. We got a lot of guys. Our freshmen were on their first Pac-12 road trip. First time Tony's really been involved playing time with a road trip. And so, it's part of gaining experience, and that's the scary thing about Stanford. You got all upperclassmen. You got 3 juniors and 2 seniors in the starting lineup. They've been in Pauley. They understand about the LA trip, and they're playing well. They've won 3 in a row, and then you got Cal on the weekend who hadn't lost. So whether you're at home or on the road in this league this year, you got to play well. And we did not play well enough against Utah to win. We were able to play well enough against Colorado, but you got to play well. If you don't play well, you're probably going to get beat in this league. It's really good top to bottom.
Statistically across the country, you guys are, you're up there in almost every stat. What do you think is missing? Like, what do you think is the one part of your team that maybe is a little behind, the rest of it?
Well, I think we just got to keep getting better. I was pleased with that road trip that we had growth in the area that we proved we could win a game at Colorado without shooting the ball well. And we nearly won the Utah game, as well as Utah played, and we gave ourselves a chance in that last 2 minutes to actually have a chance to win that game, and we shot like 32%. So, that I hope is what the guys took out of it, is that we don't have to shoot 50%. That's great when we do, but if we have an off shooting night, now we've proven that we can win a game, and I hope they take some momentum from that. And now we just we're like a lot of teams this time of year, you got to keep growing. You got to keep getting better. And I don't think there's any one thing. I think, a month ago we were asking that question. Our board play's improved. Our defense has improved. We just got to make sure we're continuing to make strides in the right direction.
What do you think the team became complacent? Looking back, was there something you could have done differently to prepare?
Well, I don't think it had to do with preparation. I mean, obviously it's a quick turnaround, but it wasn't how the guys prepared. I think we just got in a hurry offensively. I think we took some ill-advised, quick, contested shots, dribbled when we should have shot when we should have dribbled, pass the ball, make the extra pass. Our assist turnovers were about 18-10, and especially the Utah game, the turnovers and assists were almost identical, and that's usually not the way our team is. So, but it was a good environment, and Utah plays awfully well at home. Their only loss has been an overtime game where it was a kind of a freak steal at the end against Oregon that allowed them to lose that game. So we knew it was going to be a tough turnaround, a quick turnaround for us, and but I don't think it was any one thing that the guys did. They did a really good job in the amount of time they had to prepare.
Is part of the shooting struggles maybe a slump after you guys started so well?
No, I don't agree with that. They're not struggles. When you just have 2 games that are on the road, that's not a shooting slump. There are a lot of teams that would like to be shooting the ball the way we shoot the ball. So I don't think there's any kind of slump, and our guys aren't. I think it's a combination of road trip and good. Both of those teams are really good defending teams, and like I said, we got in a hurry. I think we just got to calm down, take our transition when it's there, and when it's not there, just make 1-2 extra passes to get a better shot. I think that's more of the issue than really a struggle. A struggle is, if you're shooting 40% on the year, that's a struggle. We're not to that point. We're doing a pretty good job of shooting the ball this year.
Can you talk about Anderson's growth this season and his maturity? That's you saw that in the Utah
Well,
game.
That's the biggest thing is his maturity. He just it's one thing to start the season and you're around a triple double. It's another one now that you're nearly 20 games into the season and you're one of 3 or 4 players that are over 15 points, over 7 rebounds, over 5 assists. There's just not a lot of players in the country doing that. And especially when there's so many challenges towards him of whether he can play the point position, and he's been tremendous. He's not only been a very good point guard for us, he's been one of the best point guards in the country. So his maturity's been terrific.
So you got 7 players on this team who have scored 20 points in a game before. So you have a deep bench. What will that mean for games, in the future like Utah, where it gets down to the end and you have a full bench that is capable of winning games?
Well, I think that's what we've talked to the team about. That you don't dwell on a loss. We haven't dwelled on the Utah loss. We've tried to learn from that loss. Just like when we beat, Colorado, it's we don't stand still. We try to build upon that, and that's as we coming off a loss here. That's what the team's done. We got a lot of weapons, and we're improving defensively. Now we're running into 2 really good, experienced teams this week. That's going to be a lot of fun and great challenges. But we just got to keep building and keep growing, and hopefully this team's going to do that. They've listened all year and they've worked. We had a really good practice yesterday, so they've bounced back well. They've always been a resilient group, whether it's been win or loss, of trying to get better.
Jordan necessarily hasn't shot his usual percentage lately, but it seems like he's been doing kind of the other little things. So what does that say about him?
Well, maturity is, again, going from your freshman to sophomore year, he's fine. We always talk about find a way, and we've got to help Jordan. I think Jordan's been in a hurry, and Jordan is a prolific scorer, great shooter. We're got to work the offense harder to get him better shots because, as I said on the onset of the season, he's as good with moving out the basketball as I've coached. And we got to get that going again. He's just been in a little bit of a hurry, but he still makes people guard and puts teams in a difficult situation with matchups. So, where they've controlled him a little bit, it's opened up things like at Colorado for Norman Powell to get 18 points. It's freed up guys like Zach on the perimeter because Jordan's always getting the best defender. So that's different. Last year Shabazz probably got the best defender into the backcourt. So it's all a learning process. But Jordan gets rebounds, he assists well, he's guarding better, he's doing a lot of other things that's helping us win games.
Seems like with the rebounding, especially, that spike kind of came out of nowhere, and
it really helps us because a month ago we were talking about that being an issue, and I always say it's an issue because it's the stop to your defense. But we are a much better rebounding team now than what we were a month ago, and Jordan's had a lot to do with that. Anytime you can get guys in the backcourt rebounding, that really helps you.
What have you noticed about how opposing teams are guarding your freshmen and how they've adjusted to any increased attention?
Yeah, and we've talked a little bit to both Zach and Bryce about it. It might not have been known a month ago. Now we're 18 games into this thing, and there's plenty of tape out. Now you're on the board as a scout because both of them have had big scoring nights. Both of them have had a lot to do with if you look at our success, a lot of it has to do when all of a sudden we go to the bench, our momentum changes. There's a lot of things that they've done very, very well. So they're not your typical bench guys that, okay, they're role guys and this is how you're getting scouted. It's a little bit more intense. So that's a learning curve for both of them. And so there's a lot of teaching moments that we're trying to provide to both of those guys.
Are they exceeding your expectations from what you would have tagged them as coming in the season?
The freshmen?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, through 18 games, they've done, they've done a really good job. Zach can score for us. He knows how to create his own shot. He gets out in transition. He's very athletic. He's done a really nice job defensively. Bryce is somebody who's really controlled our offense and ran our offense. He's been top 5 in the Pac-12 in overall games and assist-turnover ratio. And, so they've done a very good job of valuing the basketball and working hard on both ends. So, meet expectations, exceed expectations. Those guys are doing a really good job.
What has Bryce done, you think, to handle the expectations, the extra expectations of coming into a place like this?
Well, yeah, and that's not easy. And he saw that on this recent road trip. It's not an easy deal. But he's a tough kid. He's got a good moxie to him, and he's tough. He's confident. His teammates do a really good job of, accepting him and helping him. And I think he's got a chance to be a really good leader as we move forward because guys can trust that. For the most part, he makes good basketball plays, and he's just got to get back here at home, and now that we're at home off this road trip, learn from it, move forward, and start, just continue to make those basketball plays that help this team.
Being in the unique spot of being, his coach and his dad, do you tell him anything in particular after a weekend like this past one?
No, just he does a really good job, like a lot of our guys, of watching tape. So I just told him, look at your first couple games, look at Arizona State and USC, and then put in the tape of Utah and Colorado and make your own judgment. See, are you moving the same? Is the ball moving the same? Are you running the offense? Are you getting the same kind of shots? He doesn't have to be a a big scorer for this team in this year. I think he'll evolve into that, but this is a team that, he's just got to run the show and get the ball where it's got to go, and then if all of a sudden you don't pay attention to him, he can knock down shots. And I think yesterday's practice he got back to really doing that. And as he told me, Dad's, it's my first Pac-12 trip, and it's different, and I totally understand that. Zach was the same way. That's a whole different animal. They're two sellouts. They're Colorado hadn't lost. Utah's only lost once. That's a whole different deal for freshmen. And if you look at Zach and Bryce, and that's what we talk about freshmen, both of them played. Bryce played a little bit more, but Zach told me he played like 21, 22 games last year. So his body's telling him it's the end of the year. And we're not even at the midpoint of the conference season. So that's what freshmen go through. And these are two guys that they're tough-minded. They're going to be a big part of what we're doing moving forward. So we got to be patient with it, and they're doing a really good job.
We haven't really asked you that much about coaching Bryce. How's that been so far for you? I know you coached Corey before.
Well, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun because Corey's helped with that. Coaching Corey the last 2 years and him being a part of championship programs, and now having his younger brother with him. Corey's the one that deserves that credit because Corey's done a really good job as we made the move here in the summer and the fall of preparing Bryce for what it's like. And I think anybody deserves that credit of getting Bryce ready for his freshman year. It's Corey.
Thanks, guys.